Hey, hey, how's it? How's it? How y'all feeling? How y'all living? My name's Kilo. Welcome back to the Chaos Effect Mind podcast. What's good? Long time. All right, y'all. I know I took a little hiatus. No hiatus, coyote. But yeah, am I bad about this chair? This might be loud. I took a little hiatus. It's important sometimes, you know. I was thinking the other day how I could possibly hibernate like bears for the winter, so I would never have to see a fucking snowflake. Cause Lord knows I do not like the cold. All right. Okay, I got this pillow of my dog my cousin gave me, and it's really realistic, but she mad uncomfortable. Baby girl, I'm gonna have to put you on the ground, all right? Bet. Okay, and I know I've said it before, but I'm gonna do my best to put this video up. The videos tend to take so long to upload, though. I don't know if it's just my Wi-Fi or what, but drives me crazy. All right, anyway, so today what I want to discuss is I will be talking about a little bit about how or why the reason it would be important to heal your matriarchy line, whether you're male or female. Again, we all have male and female, or we all have feminine and masculine energies within us inherently, right? So it just depends on how you want to resonate with it. But I will be going into the male and the female aspect of it. Of course, I more resonate with the female side of things, but I did grow up with a father who did not heal his matriarch line, so to speak, or his feminine energy between him and his mother. They had a very tumultuous relationship, and they unfortunately never got to discuss it or to go over it while she was still on this earth. May she rest in peace. That's my tutu, okay? So yeah, and then of course my brothers, who my second oldest brother has a very dysfunctional, strange Norman Bates relationship with my biological mother, and my youngest brother, who is he's my third sibling. Wait, it goes my older brother, my one brother, me, and so he's my fourth sibling, and then my younger sister. So he has a very odd relationship with my biological mother as well. And you know, me, of course, I have a very disconnected relationship with her as well. But yeah, anyway, we'll get into that. And again, I feel like it's definitely important because, you know, obviously as a young woman, as a teenage girl growing up and not really having that solid female, I guess, influence in my life was a little difficult for me to begin with. Just because, you know, I grew up watching like I said, my father not get along with his mother and my mother not get along with her mother. And she told me my entire life that she didn't want our relationship to be the same. And here we are, you know? So, and, you know, I have sat back and asked myself this question over and over again because I've done a lot of things as a child that I should not have had to do as a child in our parent-child dynamic. So to me, I feel like it gets a little complicated, right? Like I've done what I can do to heal the matriarch line on my side between my mother and I, but unfortunately she does not have any desire to make that happen, even though she tells other people otherwise, which I find really strange and odd. But, you know, being around me, it means confronting your truth, right? And I'm not going to sweep shit under the rug. I'm not going to appease your ego. I'm not going to sit there and act like things are okay when they're not. I'm going to tell you about yourself just like I would want you to tell me about myself, okay? It's a give and take relationship. It's not just take, you know, and to me, in my opinion, that's all our relationship was her taking from me, using me for whatever she needed me for. And, you know, I played many roles when I was a kid. I was a therapist, I was a nurturer, I was her mother, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not those things. And growing up like that is very difficult, you know, to grow up with a mother that was jealous of you for being who you are freely and completely, because she was so afraid to be who she was completely, because she was always letting people tell her who she was and how she should be living. And me, I'm not the type. Like, I'm the type to question every last thing when it comes to stuff. And it's not to be defiant, as they called me. It's not to be rebellious. It's not to question your authority in any way. It's just because I am a naturally curious person, and I just wanted to know, like, why it couldn't be different, why those things couldn't be different, right? And so that brings me along to my first point. I got my cracked up iPad here. Shout out to my brother's dog, little bitch. But yeah, so why healing your matriarch line matters spiritually and in your other relationships. Like, for me, I have a very difficult time cultivating relationships with other females, and I feel like it's because I'm very mistrusting of females and their motives when it comes to being around me. I've always felt like people were jealous of me, again, just for being who I was, and like that comes with certain territories, especially when you're spiritual, but it just I just tend to have like a very deep mistrust when it comes to other females in my life for wanting what's best for me and not feeling like they're not against me in some way, which is something I'm working through. I've been working through for a long time. I do have some close friends that are females that I appreciate and I love, and I'm very grateful for. Some other ones didn't stick around, and we just couldn't meet eye to eye, and that's okay too. You know what I mean? We move on, we grow, we live, we experience. All right. So, and again, that goes back to carrying emotional, psychological, energetic imprints that influence present day life. Right. So the reason again, that affects my present day life, again, by not really being able to cultivate that community of female companionship that I don't want to say long for, but that I definitely reach for sometimes. And so in that way, I feel like I tend to be led to, I don't want to say the wrong people, but like, I want to say energies that test me and I have to work through without question, I guess is how I want to say that. And what I mean by that is, so let's say we have like and not every chick in a group of friends is going to get along. I do not believe that a group of like 10 girls and everyone likes each other. Like, I don't believe that there's not one person in that circle that's not talking shit about somebody. You know what I mean? It's just, we're just humans by nature. So like, I've done my best to try to distance myself from people of those tendencies, right? Because those tendencies aren't great tendencies to have, right? Like, to me, I feel like if you're talking about somebody, like, at least let them be present so they can defend themselves in some way. You know what I mean? Now, again, I'm not perfect. Obviously, my cousins and I will talk shit about our other family members and shit. But, I feel like that's a little different than about friends, So, and so healing your matriarch line, it's important to reclaim your feminine power. It allows women to embrace their true strength, their intuition, and divine feminine energy. It can break generational cycles, and women often inherit patterns of suppression, trauma, or limiting self-beliefs about self-worth and identity. And that one's really important to me because, I feel like my biological mother never really had an inherent self-worth of herself, which is why she uses superficial things outwardly to appear as such, or her looks to appear as such. And, that's good and all. That's good and cool and all. But like, how you gonna win if you ain't right within? You know what I mean? That's very important to me, and that was always important to me because, again, I saw the ways in which my bio mom was moving, and I would question it because I'd be like, this can't be right. Like, this is a woman that told me to marry for money, not for love, and to me, that was just wrong through and through, right? Because, again, I saw what happened to my family. I saw what marrying for money looked like. I saw what it did to the kids and who's affected by that. So marrying for money was not going to be in my wheelhouse, and it just wasn't. That's not solid advice, in my opinion, coming from a mother figure and from a strong female role model. I'm using air quotes in case you guys couldn't tell the facetiousness in my voice. But yeah. So breaking generational cycles is definitely important because, again, like, you are going to be, I'm speaking to my females out here and your males too. Cause, like, again, if you don't break those generational ties to those like weird mother wounds that you have of like her not showing up or not being nurturing, which I'll get into that with my little brother, right? So but yeah, it can definitely, I feel like it can affect your parenting style. It can affect your nurturing. It can affect your compassion. Excuse me. It can definitely affect like your overall, I guess, awareness of other people's needs outside of yourself. Because, you know, if you had a selfish mother and you had a selfish mother figure in your life and they never really cared about your well-being, or they said they did and then they would do all this other weird shit, like, you know, it gets very confusing. It gets very, very confusing. And where was I going with that? I lost my train of thought for a second. But yeah, so healing those things generationally, like down the line, obviously, like if I have a daughter or if I end up having kids or whatever, you know, I always like to say that my parents taught me what not to do as a parent and how not to be as a parent, because again, the kids' well-being, the kids' needs were never put first. It was never put first. My pops put my mom's needs over everything else, and it was either her way or the highway, and that was pretty much it, which makes me sad to think about, but also like I guess I understand, because again, his mother wound is so deep that it's not even funny. Just to hold all that in and to not ever express how you felt to your mother, and she's no longer on this earth anymore. Like I couldn't imagine, because I sleep fine at night. You know what I mean? I've expressed everything to my mother. She knows how I feel. She couldn't accept how I feel, and that's fine too. We're going to keep it pushing, keep it moving. It's her loss because she doesn't get to know who I am. And she tries to get to know who I am through my pops and through other people in the family, but it's not the same, right? Like, I am who I am, not because of you, because of me, through and through. All right? Anyway, that was a little shout out in case, you know, we got some weirdos on here watching, listening, whatever. All right, so obviously healing your matriarch line is important because it deepens your self-love and your emotional healing. Addressing generational wounds from the mother line can help heal inner child wounds and unworthiness. And again, I feel like that unworthiness stems from obviously not your needs, not you not feeling cared for in your needs, and your needs just literally always being on the back burner. And I've seen it in my relationships with like other people, with like men or whatever, whomever I'm talking about, like whatever ship you want to call it. Like I've seen where I've maybe showed up with that unworthiness wound present. And that's where it's up to me to step back, set that boundary, and be like, okay, nah, like my needs are just as important as yours. There's not one person's needs over the other. We don't have kids together. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one's needs are more important than somebody else's, right? Like everyone's needs matter equally. And that's where I feel like people get that shit twisted. But yeah, so balancing your feminine and masculine energies, healing helps women integrate their soft and intuitive side with their drive and ambition, which leads to harmonious inner balance. Okay, and that's also really important to me because, you know, my bio mom, she had a deep mistrust for herself and a very deep mistrust of like making the right decision or knowing that she was going to be led in the right way and whatever. But also, again, she didn't have any faith. She didn't believe in God. Like not that I know of. She didn't believe in anything really. Like there was no religion in the house. And she did tell me before that she didn't want me to go to church because she wanted me to fear them as man and as God. And, you know, that should tell you enough about them right there. But, yeah, so healing and balancing those feminine and masculine energies is important because, again, you have both in you, right? So obviously masculine side is more like action oriented, drive, you know, do all do lol. But yeah, so yeah, but then your feminine side is more nurturing, more giving, more caring, and all these things are definitely important to balance out what's inside of you, right? And as for men, this is going to be good. All right, so men carry unconscious wounds from their mother, female ancestors. It can impact their emotional well-being, relationships, and self-expression. Word. All right. So that right there is definitely important. I never saw my pops express anything other than anger when I was younger. You know what I mean? He was always upset. Not at me, not at my mom, not at me directly, but like me and my siblings were the ones that got the brunt of that non-expression, right? Like, and I can't heal you for you, bro. Like it was only until I was older and I stepped into my spiritual journey around like 16 that I deeply understood what was happening. You know what I mean? Like, he couldn't openly and verbally get mad at my bio mom, so he had to verbally, physically, emotionally get mad at us, because what can we do? We're kids. We get punished, whatever, you know. And he tells me even to this day that we deserved it. And so if you think that and you hit your kids and you beat the shit out of them and yell at them and scream at them, even when they don't understand and you don't care to explain, you tell me what a child deserves, because that ain't it. But yeah, so let's see here. It says embracing emotional depth. Societal conditioning often discourages men from accessing their emotions. Healing the maternal line helps men reconnect with feelings and vulnerability. That right there, honestly, because again, my pops, heart him, but we've healed through a lot together. Not for me wanting to, it's just, this was a parent that kept showing up. And now whether it was showing up because he was codependent on me or vice versa, like whatever the reason may be, he still was around. And I now, as a spiritual being, as a spiritual person, I can show him the way, and I never doubt planting a seed in someone's mind. So, excuse me. Oh, that soup made me burp. But yeah, so when it comes to, and I find it interesting, right? Because it's like I'll do jobs with him sometimes, and like he's never thinking about other people or like how it would affect others, or like how what he's doing, saying, whatever will affect how somebody else feels or how somebody else, and it's not even about how they view him or anything like that, but it's mainly about how it makes someone else feel, right? Because you can go off in the world and shout out how whatever you say, like you can walk around and be like, hey, fuck you to everyone that walks around. That's a weird example, but yeah, something along those lines. And it's like, but how do you think that made that person feel is my question to you. Like, you can be so detached from your emotions and so disconnected from that feminine side of you, and that's just because you were told when you were younger that as a man you don't express emotions. The only thing you do is get mad, get upset. Crying makes you weak. Expressing emotions makes you weak. Having feelings makes you lesser than. And I'm here to tell you that that's not the truth. And, I haven't spent much time with my younger brother recently, but, just from living with him for like the year or so that I did, and like we butt heads all the time. And it was to the point where I just was questioning our relationship, because it's like, he had no care in the world or regard when it came to my feelings as a person and as an individual. And I was a little heart-wrenched over that, because, I raised him a little bit better than that. And, being separated and away from me for so long, I was able to see the changes, and not for the good, not for the greater good, that he was going through. And it was leaning more towards the side of my biological mom and how she acted, and how my dad used to act when we were younger. And just, again, no regard for human anything, like even animals, like it's just no regard for people's emotions, for feelings. Like they're not responsible for that. They will rationalize their actions and emotions all day long. But you're responsible for you. You are the one that controls your reactions. You are the one responsible for the way you make other people feel, especially if you're doing it out of malice intent. Now, again, how other people feel is not innately your responsibility, but how you say things and how you come across, that is your responsibility for sure. All right. So, and again, Mans is going to have some problems when he when he marries somebody. I'm not even going front. But yeah, so strengthening relationships with women improves how men relate to women by fostering respect and understanding. That right there, period. Stop, everybody. Okay. Respect and understanding. There was zero respect and understanding when it comes to the female aspect of things when I was younger, now, whatever. Like, especially with my younger brother, he just had no regard for the female form, or like, not even for the female form, but just like the females, period. Like, he just, the way he acted, it was just like it was nothing. Like, bro, we are divine. Like, we're all divine, but women are divine. We bring life to this world. Like, ain't no man as divine as that. Yeah, you might carry the seed, but we don't need you for that. Remember that. There's science now, right? All right. So we are divine. We are the portal for life. So like, for you to disrespect that in any way is crazy to me. Again, I'm mainly referring back to when my pops put his hands on me. My brothers put his hands on me before. I've gone through various relationships where people have put their hands on me, boys, excuse me, because you're not a man if you put your hands on a woman. I'm just saying. Anyway, so, and again, this circles back down to my next point. Releasing toxic masculinity patterns. Help men break free of destructive patterns, i.e. suppressing emotions, aggression, and detachment. Okay, so again, all those things. That is my little brother to the T. He's very aggressive when he gets his message across. He is very does not express his emotion. Definitely suppresses his emotions a lot, and just overall has destructive patterns about him that I just, again, I'm honestly appalled at, because I'm wondering where he picked up these traits from, and I actually don't even really got to ask, because I know who he hangs out with. All right, and it says honoring divine feminine within allows balanced integration, promoting intuition, compassion, and creativity. Right, so these are the reasons why certain men will be blocked in their life, is because they do not bother to integrate their divine feminine within. Excuse me. And that's sad to me, because again, feminine energy is the creativity, is the intuition, is the flow of your life, right? Like, and men need women far more than they feel that they do. You know what I mean? And especially the women that are directly related and close to you. I'm talking friends, family mainly. But yeah, like, if you never had those examples around, if you never saw what that looked like, it gets sticky. But yeah, so, and it says I wrote spiritual connection and ancestral healings, ancestral wisdom. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. Allows access to profound spiritual insights and inner peace through this work. It is not just about the past, reclaiming wholeness, rewriting personal and ancestral narratives. Okay, that's not what it's about. All right. Divine feminine healing and healing your matriarch line is more about how you choose and want to show up in this life. Okay, and that's as a man, as a woman, whatever you want to call it. It matters. It matters to heal these things, because oh my gosh, I gotta get tissue. It gets sticky. Excuse me. All right, because you can be so disconnected from the feminine energy, and without like I just said, without strong feminine role models, you may struggle to embrace softness, intuition, and emotional depth, making it harder to connect with your divine feminine energy, and also feminines in your life. Hello, any wife or woman that you want, you're going to wonder why those things are going to keep popping up. You're going to wonder why those same problems are going to keep happening, but I'm going to need you to look in the mirror. Okay. And this says difficulty with self-nurturing and the absence of a nurturing mother figure can make it challenging to care for yourself emotionally, leading to self-neglect or difficulties in self-love. Whoa. Bomb drop. Maybe I can get that sound effect right there. I might have to, honestly, on that. But that just reminds me of, my brother who's going through a breakup and was with the girl maybe 6 years. And instead of healing and sitting with his emotions, because it's difficult. I will say it is. I feel like it is difficult. I'm not saying it's less difficult or more difficult, but it can be, I feel, more difficult for some men to sit with their emotions and sit in silence, right? Because sitting in silence means what? You're not taking action, but that means you're dropping into your feminine energy and really thinking about what happened, what you went through, how you feel about it, how you actually feel about it, not what you're outwardly portraying to the world, because that shit's a lie, and that's okay. You can portray the macho, tough, woo, 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 I'm a big man, big dog, I'm big bro, you little bro. Nah, you can do that all day long, cool, but I know on the inside you're dying, and that's okay. But yeah, he was going through that breakup. I begged him to sit at home and sit with me and do some healing stuff. He didn't want to. He wanted to go to the bar. He wanted to go meet somebody. He wanted to go do this and that and whatever. I'm like, bruh, you're not going to heal by drinking your life away and thinking you're meeting someone else and having sex with someone and thinking that that's solving anything. Like, you've literally dealt with none of the emotions that have happened the past 6 years, and that's crazy. And that was one of your main problems in that relationship. And I'm no relationship guru at all, but I was there through most of all of that shit he went through, and he would always confide in me with it. And it's like, what else can I can't say anything else, because it's like, bro, you don't want to listen to me. He called me crazy and insane all the time. And so he ended up meeting a chick. They literally spent every day together for like a fucking month, and I was sick of it. So I approached him. I was like, yo, like, bro, I just want to make sure you're good, because like, you literally dropped off with this chick of however many years, and then you met this chick and you're just constantly with her all the fucking time. Like, that's not healthy, man. It's really not. And he was like, you mind your fucking business. It's none of your fucking business how I do what I do. I'm like, okay, cool. They ended up breaking up, and the reason was because she wanted to spend too much time together. Yeah. Anyway, good times. Don't miss it at all. But yeah, so again, that goes back to struggling with emotional expression, because you find it hard to express your emotions freely. So what do? You bottle it in, you suppress it, you start feeling overwhelmed due to lack of guidance and emotional regulation, which is what I was attempting to do with my brother. He just felt I was trying to tell him what to do. And so I stepped back, because it's not my place. I'm gonna let Goddess do her thing. Okay. And so wounded sisterhood bonds, that's what a lack of strong female figures can lead to mistrust or discomfort in female friendships, making it difficult to form deep, supportive connections with other women. So again, I didn't have an older sister. I had a younger sister. Her and I's relationship was also very tumultuous. We ended off on very bad terms, just because my mother wanted us to pick a side. I told her I picked my side. I picked the kids' side because I was the one taking care of their fucking kids, blah, blah, blah. And again, I'm not a victim in any of this shit. I might not have deserved what happened when I was younger, but this is just me sharing my stories. I'm a victor in all this because I came out pretty dope, if you ask me. But no one did. So, but yeah, so I find that odd, because my brother had a strong female presence in his life, me, right? But he was always reaching for an older brother. He always told me, I want an older brother. I miss my older brother. This, that, and their older brother. I'm like, well, I'm not an older brother, but I'm your big sis. I got you, like all the things. But it wasn't good enough for him. But I feel like it was because he was so afraid to look deep into that mother wound that he had with our bio mom, that he just swept it under the rug. And I'm sure that's what he does when he's around her now. And that shit's not healthy, bro. It's really not. So, and yeah, an uncertainty in feminine identity. And again, this is male and female. We all have the masculine and feminine energies within us. So without women to model female strength and softness, you might struggle to define what femininity means for you. Excuse me. Oh my God, burping. Leading to confusion, rejection, or overcompensation in either direction. All right. So overcompensating is definitely something I used to do. I used to do so much for people, i.e. my siblings. I used to do so much for people, with very little in return. And I know it was because I felt unworthy innately of their, I guess, love. So I was always trying to please them. I was always trying to do something to help when it wasn't my fucking job. They're not my kids, bro. Like, honestly, I wish I did have a role model in my life to tell me that they were not my responsibility, no matter how I felt about it. Obviously, I felt responsible for them during my parents' divorce and a lot of the things that fell through there and after. But I really truly wish I had someone to tell me to focus on me, worry about what I need to do, worry about my future, because I dropped a full ride scholarship to stay and help them and raise them and pay for them. So, and no regrets, obviously, but me just looking back, that is one thing I do wish I had, was whether it be a strong, any form of role model in my life to be like, yo, nah, revert that energy, focus on you, stop overcompensating, you're good. All right, but needless to say, you can heal, you can reconnect to those things, and you can do these things by reparenting yourself. You learn to mother yourself, you learn to nurture, you learn comforting and guiding yourself as a loving mother would. And that these are things that I at least got to practice with my siblings, but I also never focus on that with me. So that's what I've been working on for the past however many years, and so you connect with divine feminine energy, you explore feminine spirituality, goddesses or archetypes that can fill that void left by absent feminine figures. Definitely something I've been doing. And you build a supportive sisterhood, finding strong female friendships, mentors, or a community of wise women that can help heal the wounds of absence. And inner child healing, always. So inner child healing is always going to be a part of healing your matriarch, healing your masculine energies, whatever it may be. What is a father side called? I know the matriarch is women. What is the father called though? Patriarch? I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, so you process when you do your inner child healing, it can help you process the loss or lack of feminine support that you had in your life, and balancing your feminine and masculine. Again, you're learning to soften those energy. Okay, so strengthening your inner trust and your intuition is kind of the foundation of that. But also your inner child is right neck and neck with that as well. Okay. So because vulnerability, most people look at it as a bad thing for people to see you vulnerable or anything like that. But vulnerability is a motherfucking superpower. Don't let anyone tell you differently. I just don't care anymore if people see me vulnerable. You shouldn't care if people see you vulnerable, because the world needs more vulnerability, because we have too many more robots in this world. We don't need more of that. We need people to be vulnerable. We need people to be raw and authentic in their love and their hate and whatever else. And maybe not in your hate, please stop. Don't do that. There's enough of that in this world. But in their love, right? In their feminine energy, in their masculine energy, the authenticity is really what I'm speaking about, really. And then you end up redefining femininity on your own terms. So without a strong mother figure, femininity may feel like an abstract or distant concept, which it was for me. And healing allows you to explore what it truly means for me, for you, whoever. And it says you discover that femininity is not confined to traditional roles. It is a fluid personal expression that can include strength, creativity, sensuality, and independence. Instead of mimicking what you think femininity should look like, you develop a version that feels authentic and fulfilling. Okay. Okay, but a trip out. Yes, sir. And it says healing relationships with other women. Growing up without supportive women can sometimes lead to mistrust, jealousy, or discomfort around other women. Healing helps dissolve these barriers. And I mean it that I've focused on that healing, because again, those are all feelings that I've definitely felt when it comes to being around other females. And it's way less, if not even there anymore as of currently. But those are feelings that I struggled with growing up, and not having any feminines consistently around me, really, that were role models in that way. And it says you begin to see other women as allies rather than competitors, fostering deeper friendships and a sense of community, right? That's what I talked about in the beginning. And it says a new appreciation for sisterhood emerges, allowing for mentorship, shared wisdom, and emotional support. All right. So, and again, mothering yourself with compassion is key in all of this. And you release subconscious patterns of unworthiness. You reconnect with the body and the feminine expression, and you create a new blueprint for future generations. Okay. So I pray that this helps somebody out there. I know that healing your matriarch line is not exactly easy work, especially because that's who you came from. They're supposed to inherently love you and they're biologically programmed to love you, but that's not always the case, okay? But just know I love you. Keep it real, all right? Whether you're male or female, please, I beg of you, heal your matriarch line. It's definitely important, all right? I'll catch y'all again soon. Peace.